Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, and welcome to another KAMDI Conversation. And of course, I'm always excited to be here with you all and always excited to have my very special guest. And you are in for a treat today to hear all about our independent artist spotlight, who really isn't so independent, but we'll talk about what label you're on now later on. So before I actually get started, I want to tell everyone to please hit the StreamYard link so we can see your name and who's watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat in the comment section, and I'll be happy to ask our guests the question for you. And let us know where you're from, too, if you're watching. So without further ado, welcome again to KAMDI Conversations with my very special guest, professional recording artist, BMA winner, songwriter, actress, the beautiful Miss Lettrice Lawrence. Welcome, Lettrice. Yay.
Hi, how are you?
I am great, and I am so glad to have you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes. Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Welcome, welcome. All the way from the West Coast?
Yes, Valley.
Yes. All right. Yeah. So welcome to KAMDI Conversations. Thanks for joining us. We want to learn all about you in a few minutes that we have. And I'm going to go ahead and get started because the time goes really fast. But I appreciate you taking the time. So let's start from the beginning, because there's some people out there who don't know who Miss Lettrice is. And I have had the pleasure to do a little research and hear your beautiful voice. So let's just go back to the beginning. Tell us how this whole journey got started for you. I always like to start there, and then we'll work our way up to the present. So tell us how the music interest started, the whole journey started for you.
Well, I started singing when I was 4, and I sang at church, and my mom was an evangelist, and she sang when she was pregnant with me, actually. And she used to sing for Jesse Belvin for a hot minute. She was 15. So she was always singing all the time. And so when I was born, they said that I was imitating, like the Carol Burnett show, Diana Ross and Supremes. When I was 2 or 3, that they said I would imitate sounds and I do. And they were like, what's wrong with this little girl as a singer? So I sang at church at 4, and I got in the children's choir. Then I got in the young adults choir, the teenage choir. And I started singing at school. And so I was 8 years old doing talent shows. And I sang Sin in the Clowns by Barbra Streisand. And I loved Barbra Streisand's music.
Oh, yes.
Her music touched me deeply. And so did Minnie Riperton's music and Denise Williams' music. And so I love the Clark sisters in gospel. And I love Mahalia Jackson and the Hawkins singers. And I sung You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone at this big extravaganza when I was 8. And so everybody was taken back. And I still had stage fright at the time.
Well, that's understandable.
It ran off the stage when I got a standing ovation.
Oh, that's awesome.
For a long time. And even now, I get nervous sometimes still. But the thing is, to know that people like Barbra Streisand and Gladys Knight had the same issue, it's reassuring because they're pros.
Yes.
So I got really into music, and I was offered a deal when I was 16, and it was with my best friend. He played the piano, and he was really talented. He could really sing too. And so we sang, Atlantic Stars for Always,
Oh my goodness.
We would duet a lot. And so he signed me, and he came to our house, and my dad was like, she's a minor, she won't be doing this. And I was like, you're ruining my life. And I slammed the door and went in my room, and I was really mad at my dad. But looking back, it was a lot of snakes back then, and he probably was right about this person, but I think it was RCA. And I was young, I was getting offered deals, and my father was just blocking them left and right. So finally, I decided to go to school for music. So I went to St. Mary's, and I studied classical, and I was a opera singer. I did, classical singing, and I also played the piano. And I also was an English major, so it was really rough. I had a lot of units and time. And I believe that I started really knowing then. I was like, you know what? I knew when I was a kid, but I knew that I wanted to be a singer for sure.
Okay. So you knew it early.
Mm-hmm. Industry things, hanging around with, industry people. Mm-hmm. And so I've taken piano lessons on and off since I was 6. So, but I was more into the vocal side of it. So once I finished Mount St. Mary's, I became a teacher and hanging out with a music exec and going to celebrity parties. And I got offered a deal from Warner Brothers and Sony. And the timing was not good both times.
Okay. Now, what were you teaching? I wanted to ask you that. You said you became a teacher.
Oh. My first year, I taught 9th through 12th. I taught music.
Did you? Okay.
Experience. Teenagers, and they were all girls. It was all girls Catholic schools. So they were off the hook. That was an experience. That actually taught me to be a teacher, honestly. And I taught kindergarten. I love them. Kindergartners are great because little kids are like, it's sweet. They want to hug you. They're great. Little germs, but very sweet.
Yes.
And I taught 6th grade as well. 6th grade was the good age too for me because they were really sweet. They really were good kids. And I had a piano. I would play the piano, and I would be over the Christmas programs. So we would do that. But I taught all subjects when I was teaching 6th grade.
Okay.
It was really, really interesting. But it was hard. I was juggling my professional career and I was teaching. So eventually I had to figure out what I was I'm going to keep doing it because it became grueling.
Okay.
A lot of these times, the school district is hard. You don't get as much support. You don't have as much aid time as you would like. So you have to do a lot of grueling hours. So now, flash forwarding to now. Well, before I get to now.
Yeah. I know we're not now yet. Yeah. Okay.
Backgrounds for Barbra Streisand. So
how did that come about, Lettrice?
Well, I was working with this young lady, and her name is Alicia Riley, and she was dealing with Sony. Mm-hmm. And so, she's with Sony. So, of course, I got asked to do it. And I was like, oh, my God, are you serious? Because I've been singing her music since I was a child.
Yes, that came full circle for you.
And she was like, oh, my God, you have a beautiful smile. And I thought I was going to die, honestly. I really did. But she was amazing and kind. Oh. And everyone on the front row every night of the tour was like legends. Mm-hmm. Taylor and Sidney Poitier was on the front row.
Oh, my gosh. What an experience.
Yes. And John Travolta and his wife, Kelly Preston. I'm so glad I got a chance to meet her. She was sweet. And so John Travolta was my childhood crush. My parents knew. And so my parents came the night that he was there. And they were like, oh, this is going to lose it. I didn't. I was good. He carried me like, hey, what's your name? And I'm like, Lettrice.
I love
it. Since I was a child. I was honest. And he hugged me, and his wife, hugged me. They were very personable.
That's wonderful.
But her singing is amazing.
I love Barbra Streisand.
Yentl, I do too. She took clips from Yentl, and she took clips from Funny Girl, and she actually was singing while in the background you can see her on the boat from Yentl. So she did a little bit of Papa, Can You Hear Me? And then she did, let me see, People. And she did little things here and there that were from her hits. And so I was just like, wow, this woman is amazing. She's very organized.
She is.
So I love her. I'll never forget that experience.
That is priceless, Lettrice. That's priceless. I have to ask you this. Yes. I ask you this question because my favorite Barbra Streisand song is Evergreen. Did you get to sing on? Are there background vocals on? I don't think there's background vocals on Evergreen.
No, it isn't. I think it's like oohs and ahs, maybe. Okay, people had backgrounds.
Yes.
All Zang Lang. What is it? All Zang Lang. It's the song for New Year's Eve.
Yeah. All Lang Syne.
All Lang Syne. Sorry, I sang that with her. That and People. and this other song. But no, Happy Days Are Here Again. It's a few other songs.
Yes.
But no, the other song she sung herself. And it sounded the album. And I was just standing there in awe, even in rehearsals, because she sounded like the record. She was flawless.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And I love to hear the stories. That's what I like when I do our interviews. I really love hearing the stories behind everything. And that's a great experience and story. Thank you for sharing that. Before you get to the next phase of your story, I think we need to turn, we're getting a little feedback. You might need to turn your volume down a little bit. But I wanted to ask you, you sang in all the gospel choirs and you were doing a lot of church. You said your parents were evangelists, I believe you said.
My mom was an evangelist, but she went to school with my dad and they both became licensed ministers. So they had a church for 20 years. And then, we had a building. We had a building for about 13 years.
So you went from sacred to secular? Is that what I'm hearing? Was there ever an issue with that?
I actually was doing both. And some people have problems with that.
Well, that's what my question is. Did your parents, did you have any issues with that?
Oh, they had issues. More or less my dad. My mother was like, oh, just let her sing anything. And my brothers would get into it with him like, she's a soul singer. She's not a gospel singer. And he's like, no, she's a trained opera singer. And so I've sung with, like the Southeast Symphony. And I've sung with San Bernardino Symphony. And I've done some classical performances. Mm-hmm. And I've sung with Charles Dickerson and Albert McNeil. And they're big in the classical world. But it's like I don't know. I love gospel, but classical and like jazz and soul music is like it for me. I mean, it's like really like a part of me. Even blues is a part of me. And people go there like, well, Christian music, you only know God makes all music. And so I'm with Enthroned Records, and he loves the fact that I sing classical. But he also loves the fact that I love soul music and gospel, jazz and blues and R&B and all that equally, and pop. Because, I just believe God made all music. If it has good content and it touches people's soul, that's what it's about.
I love it.
It is.
Thank you for sharing that. You probably have answered all my questions already and without me even asking them. So, but please continue, because there's some key points in your story that I want to make sure you're able to share, and which has brought you to today. So continue with your story. You've already signed with a few, and tell us where you are. You said, I know some things that happened, so I want you to go ahead and share that part, if you don't mind.
When I tried to sign with Warner Brothers, I was dealing with this label, and it was really promising. They were trying to connect me with Bass and all these different producers, and the deal was like the paperwork. I got it checked out, and it was just not good. It's happened to me a couple of times, and I remember I had a deal set up with even Sony, of a subsidiary company, Red Ant, and that fell through. So I was very disappointed because I worked really hard for both of them. And a situation happened where I couldn't do it. And then the day I was driving to my meeting with MCA, I got into a almost fatal car accident, and they had to get me out of the car with the jaws of life. And I had to like get therapy to walk again. And it was bad. It was bad. I'm grateful I got through it, but I've had some things like thrown at me when I was offered these deals, but also they were bad deals when I had them checked out, which is strange. And then I had a deal offered to me from Jadar Records to do jazz. And I was like, couldn't do that one either. And so I was like, okay, come on, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? And I was still doing gigs, and still doing gigs, and, and having opportunities, and, singing at the Grammy Museum and doing different things. And so finally, I decided to do my own album, my own way, with I met these two guys in school, and I was in I was at West LA because I had graduated already. So I decided to go back and brush up on my skills. And I got in the jazz band and everything. It was great. I was singing all this Duke Ellington stuff. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do different types of music.
Right.
I met these two guys, Brandon Ford and Devin Shaw, and we started working together. And we did a gospel album, but it had jazz influences and it had sounded R&B, but it was great. So the album is Hear Me, Lord, the collaborations. And so I started doing that, and I got invited to sing with KGLH's radio show. I started doing brunches, and I started doing 4th of July shows and songs a few times on the radio. So it was really good to do that. And so I even did that gospel renaissance thing, you know, with some heavyweights that's in the business, you know, and that was really fun, you know. So I mean, that was great. So I, you know, Kalante Gavin and people like that, and there's a preacher, Dietrich Haddon was in it. It's great. Okay. And so something happened where I said, okay, I want to do gospel, but I want to do messages that are positive to reach everyone. The sinner, the person who's never heard about Jesus, everybody.
Yes.
I started still writing messages of love in my song. And we decided to do an R&B, jazz, neo soul album.
Okay.
Another Side of Me. So we did that, and still was doing KGLH things. And I connected with Andre Pittman and the project. And Andre Pittman was, he had some things going, and he was trying to work with Sony and different, you know, little, you know, companies. Finally, he decided to do his own label, and he came up with Enthroned Records. And he actually we had a deal last year, and we had a distribution deal with Universal Music Group in Santa Monica. And it was a part deal with Climax Corporation. So it was really cool. So it was a collaboration album of sorts.
Okay.
Steffi, Climax, Tito Puente Jr., some other different artists that's amazing was on there. And my song Lonely, which is gospel, but it had R&B elements, that was on the album, which was interesting because it was gospel. It said some good stuff, but it had this element of R&B. And then I did a song called Moonlight Chaser, which is about getting off work and going out and partying and having a good time. And who knew? We were kidding. When we made the song, we were playing around, literally having fun. And that's the song I got a BMA for last year from the Black
Congratulations, yes.
I got a Verge Award, Best Artist Award, and
wonderful.
I'm so excited about that. And I think I'm going to be nominated again this year. So, I mean, it's like,
awesome.
Even through the pandemic, I mean, the moment we released the song, you're not going to believe this. The song was released March the 4th. The next week, we were shut down. And we were like, I was panicking. How are we going to do this now? We're not even going to be able to do live performances. So, girl, I was doing live shows on Facebook.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I was dressing up full out with
doing
dresses, sequin dresses.
And one of my questions is going to be, how did you do this through the COVID and through all of the pandemic?
And so
wonderful.
That was really interesting because, you know, a lot of people were depressed.
Right.
People were frustrated because a lot of people's work shut down, especially, you know, a lot of restaurant owners.
Yes, a lot of things going on.
Contractors, like musicians, you know. So it was rough, but I thank God for the discipline because I learned how to writing. I learned how to record myself.
Yes.
Because singers would have to turn their music in order to have it played for shows and professional shows or whatever. That's how it was. Or like Christmas Day, I had to go. I don't know if you've ever heard of A Place of Grace.
I have not.
A Place of Grace. Okay. This guy is like a big time minister. We had to go, and his stuff is on TV, on TBN sometimes. And so they asked me to come sing Ave Maria. So I had to come in and tape it at the church. And we were all wearing masks. And it was maybe a few people in the audience, but more or less the camera people and the music people. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I've had to do in terms of professional shows.
Okay. And how you maintain throughout.
Yeah.
Let me interject here because my friend, my partner in crime, Mr. Luther Aramis McCrae is here. Hey, Luther. Luther is my co-partner and the founder of the Fans of Unsung page. So Luther's here. He's saying hello to you. And he's saying, hey, supporting the artists. Let me ask you this. We actually are about to run out of time. We got a few more minutes, and I want to make sure I get a couple of the questions in. What advice would you give? Because you have a lot of experience as far as from the business perspective. I heard you saying the contracts weren't good. You didn't sign. Thank God you read them because, we hear so many horror stories about people who signed, didn't have an attorney and didn't read those contracts and got burnt. I mean, if you ever watch Unsung, so many of those stories are you hear that far too often. So thank God that you read and you chose not to sign. You didn't settle, you didn't sign. Apparently they didn't want to negotiate or change. So you just said, forget it. And I admire you for that. You didn't just accept anything. From that perspective, and just in general, being in this business, what advice would you give up and coming artists or those aspiring to be an artist? Because you've got some great experience and all around. What would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them definitely get a lawyer. And if you don't get a lawyer, get prepaid legal or something. So you can be able to fax your contracts to lawyers that can actually, entertainment lawyers who can look at the fine print because you don't want to get an advance. And if you don't sell a certain amount of volumes of music, you're owing $50,000 to $75,000 back to the company, and that kind of thing. And that's what people get glossed over by. They get glossed over by advance money. I had a chance again to do that recently, and I was like, no advance money, nope. I love it. You don't know how the album or the single is going to go. And then if you get it, you got to pay it back. It's like a credit card, like a loan.
Yeah.
So, it's very important that you do that and you get someone who's going to fight for you, work for you, who's going to put themselves on a limb for your career. And that's your biggest cheerleader. And that'll support you, because if you don't have the right people backing you and the right support, you're lost. I mean, I say I've worked with my producers now since 2010, and they have been very, very much vigilant in my career, and they have been very supportive, and they've been loving, and they come up with good music, and we work together, and I produce with them, but we work together and either write the songs together, sing together, the backgrounds are put it together. And so it's a family. And so
that's wonderful. Yeah.
Him, and he's like a family member to me, and he looks out for me, and he, he's a go-getter, you know what I mean? And so I love that. And he has a relationship in the industry, with people, because he worked for Warner Brothers for years, Motown, and and he knows some of the best in the business, so that's what I love about him, is that he's a really well-rounded person.
And did you say Andre? Are we speaking of Andre?
Yes. Andre, yes.
Yes, because I couldn't hear you. I thought you were speaking of Andre. Yes, and shout out to Andre I want to thank him for putting us in touch with you so we can have you here. I appreciate him so much. So that's wonderful. Now, I usually play a little game at the end, which would be very interesting for you, because you've named so many different artists, and you've already answered one of my questions, which was, who were your inspirations? You named that in the beginning. And what I love about you is that you're such a rounded vocalist. You can sing anything, and not a lot of people that come on here can say they sing classical music. And I love that about you. And I was listening to you sing Ave Maria. I was listening to that. Beautiful. Yes. not everyone can do that. So your voice is amazing. You just sing so many genres so well. I was going to ask you what your favorite was. You already named it. You already answered that question too. You were beating me to it.
I did say this though.
What's that?
Leontine Price is my favorite classical singer in the whole world. And she has touched my life in terms of being a Black woman and being opera and being such a diva, having such poise and grace. Yes. And so I have grown up watching her, and she's just amazing. I can name several people that have affected me as a singer classically, but she is the number one. And I forgot to tell you about that.
Thank you for sharing that. I can say I probably will not hear that again for people that I interview. So thank you for that. I love that fresh and new perspective from that a different genre. So I love that about you, because we can actually talk about a little classical. So this little game is going to be interesting that I play at the end. For my Unsungateers and those watching, they know I usually do this at the end, and it's quite interesting. I'm going to name an artist, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind when I say that artist. Now, Leontine would have been one, but we can't use her. I don't know a lot of classical singers, but I did know that one. So there might be, just some different ones, different areas. So I'm going to say the name, and you tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
And you'll know them all. Okay. Dionne Warwick.
I'll never love this way again.
Oh, okay. That's one of my favorite songs by her too. You must like that. Do you ever sing that song?
I sang it right too long ago for a show. Oh, I love her. Ooh,
yes.
Girl.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what comes to mind when I say Fred Hammond?
Oh, Jesus be offense.
You're the first one that's naming songs. Okay, that's great. I'm a big Fred Hammond. Okay, how about CeCe Winans?
Oh, Throne Room. I don't know why. It's like she's one of my favorite gospel artists too.
I love CeCe. And you don't have to name a song. You could say,
okay,
whatever you want to. It doesn't have to be a song.
I tell you, I immediately went to a song. Boy, I tell you. Okay.
I love it. It's okay though, because nobody ever has done that, so that's kind of cool.
Okay.
All right. Here's one. We're gonna switch it a little bit. Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan. Yvette.
Okay. Okay.
I said, well, I'm gonna try to not do a song. I love her too. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. How about Aretha Franklin?
Wow. The Queen of Soul.
Yes. That's the first thing that usually comes to mind when I say Aretha. Because Aretha was so versatile as well. She could do a lot, so I thought she might be one.
She did Nessun Dorma when Pavarotti was sick.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. I have that on my playlist, by the way.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Him singing or her singing that? Her singing?
Her singing it.
Yes.
She was she sang it live, and it was so.
Oh, I saw it.
You did?
Yeah, I remember.
Italian and she did a translation at one point too.
Yeah.
And it went back to the Italian. I said, I can't with her. She did it her way.
Isn't that's the truth? But that's what Aretha did, right? Did you see the movie the movie about her? Not the other one hasn't come out with Jennifer.
Oh, you mean the
television series?
Rovo. Yeah, I saw her version. I liked it. There's a lot of people that didn't like it.
I liked it too.
So much tea was told. That's what it was. Maybe so much of her business slipped out. Yeah, but it was that girl could really sing.
Yes.
She really could sing. Yeah.
She did a great job. I enjoyed it personally. Okay. But that part where she did this song, did you see that? And that story behind it? How they did the last minute, and that was great to kind of hear the story. I mean, I assume it was true behind that. So that was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I did. I can't wait to see the other one either.
Me too. It'll be out soon. So one last artist, and then we're going to have to shut it down. Let's see here. Luther Vandross.
Oh.
Yes, that's what I say too, Lettrice.
Lord, Lord, Lord. I have to say, he took Superstar to a whole nother level. I know the Carpenters sang it, but that man could sing to me any time of the week. He was my favorite tenor, honestly. Aside from Pavarotti, he was my favorite tenor. He was. He was amazing.
He was my favorite. He's my favorite.
He was. Oh my God! And then when he go,
yes,
it just was great. I mean, I have a friend that sings like him, and his name is Lusk. And he was from he was American. He was an American Idol. He was in the competition American Idol, and he's a great singer.
What was his name again?
It's Jacob Lusk.
Okay.
And that was one of his favorite singers too. So he would sing a lot of. He redid a couple of songs that he did, and he sang. He sings "Never Too Much." "Never Too Much" is probably that one, and "Creep" and "Superstar." Probably my favorites.
Okay.
My all-time favorites.
There's so many, but I love all the ones you just said.
Oh, I mean, we can go on.
Yes, we could. That's a whole nother show, right?
Right.
Well, Lettrice, I just thank you for joining me this evening. Can you tell us how we can follow you, keep in touch with you, and your new single? Tell everyone that, because we didn't really touch on that. So please tell them your new single and where they can get it and how they can follow you. Okay, awesome. Well, Taking You Back is on Pandora, Deezer, and it's on iTunes, Tidal, and Spotify, Apple Music, and you can get it on all those platforms. And you can also purchase it directly off of my website too, www.lettricelawrence.com. That's LETTRICE You can go onto my website and look at videos, me singing, and you can actually go on there and buy it, and right there and there, on my site. Yes, thank you. The official Lettrice music page on Facebook, the official Lettrice music page, also it has updates all the time, videos. You guys would love it. So yes. So everybody, please, let's support Lettrice. For those that are listening and not watching, you spell her name LETTRICE, Lawrence, the regular Lawrence, LAWRENCE. So everybody knows how to spell it. Make sure you follow her, download her music, support her. Let's support our artists. I thank you, Lettrice, for spending some time with us this evening. It was a pleasure. I hope you'll come back when you have any other release. We want to support you. Yeah. You are welcome anytime. Is there anything else you want to close us with, or anything else that you want to say before we leave? I just want to say that those that are trying to get a career out there, just do it from your heart and sing to bless people, sing to touch people's heart, and God will open doors for you that man can't close. Ooh, that's really essential. To do it from your heart and soul. And people will know that you're doing it from your heart and soul. They'll feel it. They'll feel it. Right. Thank you for those words of wisdom. Everybody, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can see this again and all my other shows. Follow me on Facebook at the KAMDI Group, Instagram, and everywhere else. So thank you all for joining us. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. God bless you.